Hey guys, how you doing? Hayz here. In this video, I have 3 tips that no one really talks about, no one really tells you about, but it's so important. It's kind of like the fundamentals of Tarkov, and this will teach you about sort of the mechanics and how to get better at PvP in a sort of a basic kind of way. They are so important, and I use these things all the time, every single time I'm in a fight in a PvP sort of kind of scenario, and I think that you guys should know it too. If you guys want more of this content, make sure to subscribe. For sure, that makes sure that you see my videos every time they're uploaded on YouTube, and also don't forget to like as well, because it helps me out, helps the algorithm to sort of boost up the videos to help other people out as well. Yeah. Also, don't forget to follow my Twitch channel. I do stream every day, basically every day from 10 a.m. BST, that's UK time, or 11 a.m. CEST, that's European time, on Twitch. So the link is down in the description below. So go check that out as well. Give that a follow, and hope to see you guys there. So the first tip that I want to give you is about crosshair placement. Now you might be wondering what that is, and I'll show you in this video next. So crosshair placement is a thing that's been around for ages. It's come from different games that have crosshairs built into the game to represent the center of the screen or where your bullets are going. Now Tarkov doesn't have that. It doesn't have any sort of representation of where your bullets are going, only where your barrel is pointing and the center of your screen. Now obviously the center of the screen doesn't necessarily represent where your bullet's going to go, but it's a vague idea of where they would go, like in terms of the general area, right? Because depends on blacked out arms. If you have a blacked out arm, your gun's going to go down a bit. It's going to sway a bit more. So in this, I want to sort of show how good crosshair placement can actually win you a lot more gunfights, and thinking about it actively, not just like having your aim sort of up a bit, not down here, but like actually having it in a good spot so you can win gunfights at close range, because that's the main thing with crosshair placement, is close range gunfights. Now, usually what I see players do, for various reasons, I'm not sure why, but they usually have their crosshair down here, right? They have their they're facing towards the floor, not that extreme to there, but like they're facing towards the floor here, right? And they're running around doing this. Some players obviously don't. Some players, will come around the corner and check like this height, right? But usually they're just walking around doing this, looking at the floor. Obviously, I mean, it's fine for here because they're looking at the stairs, but that's not going to work out, right? Anyone that comes on the corner, you're going to be shooting their kneecaps, right? That's just unless you're going for leg matter, sure, right? I think one of the reasons for that is that either they've come from games where there's loot on the floor. I mean, Tarkov has loot all over the floor as well, right? You find loot on the floor a lot of the times, right? But things like DayZ, PUBG, whatever, there's lots of loot on the floor. Maybe they're just used to kind of looking for loot and stuff around the floor area. One other thing I've noticed is that the reason why players have their center screen so low is that because the gun, if you have your center screen too high, the gun kind of, I mean, it depends if you have a scope or not, obviously, depending on the gun. Some guns take up massive amounts of your screen on the right side. This gun's not too bad, but some guns take up a huge amount of space on the right side of your screen, so it kind of blocks a lot of it, right? With this one, it's not too bad, but with like guns with like a Bravo scope or a Hammer or a Valde is pretty big. That can take up a lot of space on the side of your screen, so they lower it down so they still have the vision across the center of their screen where the players will be, so they can see more. Now that kind of makes sense in a way, but I feel like that's a bit of a cop out. I don't know why. I've never really been a fan of that, because I'd rather have my aim up, ready to go, right? Obviously, with crosshair placement, you want to have your crosshair sort of around the central plane, like the horizontal plane. That's what I want to call it, the horizontal plane, which is essentially just directly, where your gun is shouldered and directly in front of you. Your barrel's pointing in front for the point fire. Now for close range, obviously you'll be point firing a lot. You'll be point firing around a lot, and that kind of let me turn this down real quick. That kind of that comes from point firing, not from hip firing. It's not hip fire. Hip fire's from the hip, as Rambo does. This is point fire from the shoulder, not aiming down sight. If you're looking for a good sort of crosshair placement, depends on the range that you're looking at, right? So if you're down the hallway here, it's safe to say you don't want to aim too high. You just aim kind of like sort of center mass, horizontal plane-ish, and you should be okay, right? Whereas if you're close range and you're waiting for someone to come around the corner here, just reload. If you're waiting for someone to come around the corner here, you want to have your aim higher than usual, right? Because obviously, coming from the shoulder, the barrel's coming from the shoulder, right? It's coming directly from the shoulder, which means that if you're aiming on the horizontal plane, directly on the horizontal plane, which is here, you're going to hit his chest, or his shoulders, or chest, right? Because you're aiming from your chest directly to his chest. So what you want to do, if he's coming around the corner, you want to aim higher than usual. You want to aim up here, right? Because then your barrel will be right in his nose, directly, like in his chin, in his nose. You want to aim right here, right? So make sure if you come around corners to aim higher than you think. That's what I've always told myself. I've tried to get into this habit a lot, and it's actually worked out much more than usual, much more than before. Sorry. Just keep thinking to yourself: aim higher than usual. Aim higher than you think, right? And that will help you out a lot, right? So if you aim up here, you'll definitely get a headshot on a guy coming around the corner. Obviously, you know, down the stairs is different, right? But on the same floor as you, come around the corner here, he's gonna die. There's no way he's gonna survive that many bullets to the face. Whereas if you're aiming here, you're gonna shoot his chest. Obviously, you know, he's got level 6, level 5 armor. If you're running semi bad ammo, it's not gonna work out, is it? Headshots with with BT on a 545. This is an AKM, but it doesn't matter. 545 AK will kill a lot more often than chest shots with BT, right? That's definitely something to think about, and that's my first tip of this video. The next tip that I want to give you is about grenades and how to use grenades in certain scenarios, not just for killing players, but for other reasons too. Okay, so for the next tip, what I've got is using grenades. Now, some people use grenades in different scenarios. Most, from what I see from streams, YouTube videos, whatever clips, what I see is people kind of like throw a grenade, and then they just wait for a lucky dip. You know, it's like a lucky dip grenade. They're just like, oh, will I kill him? Throw that over there. Is he gonna die? Ooh, he's not dead. Okay, now what? Now what do I do? What do I do? Dunno, he's not dead. Now what? And it just seems really sort of wasteful, right? Like you can do the same thing, but also push at the same time, right? So if I throw a grenade down there, and then I push right here, you know, and then I can sort of make an aggressive push and whatever, right? Like people don't really use grenades as intended. What grenades are is a utility, right? So I don't need a VOG or a VOG 75 or a VOG 25 or whatever. I don't need those things. I use RGGs all the time, F1 grenades, whatever. So it's kind of the same thing, all the time to just push back enemies, right? Like that's all I want to do is just push back a player. That was a bad nade, but still. The whole idea is to push them back, or even use a grenade sound. So if you want to use like an M67 grenade that has I think it's a 5-second fuse timer or something crazy. A 5-second fuse timer, whereas the F1s and the RGGs have a 3.5 seconds. So it's 1.5 seconds more for you to even throw a grenade here and then run around the corner and push, right? Because what they'll be doing is they'll be like, oh shit, grenade. They'll try and run away, and you'll be shooting them in the back as they run away, right? Now that's one strategy that I've seen from a lot of the top players. It's something that I haven't really even started doing yet. But it's such a smart idea. It's a very situational thing to do, though. It's not quite something that you can do every single time. But with these grenades, with the grenades that you can throw to sort of back people off of certain angles, you know, if someone's holding an angle from here, whatever, you know, you can be the one to throw a grenade down there. And then cross over, and then wait for the grenade to go off, and then make an aggressive push over towards them, and you know, take them by surprise. Obviously, there's audio, there's sound with the grenade explosion. It can mask your footsteps pretty easily to the point where they're like, okay, you know, nade thrown, and then they peek back out, and you're right there. Instead, you're fucking right in front of their face instead of like down the angle down there. So they have to then adjust themselves. Whereas you've come right here, you're ready. You know, you're ready. Obviously, bringing in, you know, the crosshair placement tip that I gave in the first tip. Crosshair placement, you push, you have it above where you think you should have it. Smash their face, boom, done, right? That's the easiest kill of your life if you just use one grenade. to make a push instead of sitting there and waiting for a lucky dip to happen. So in this tip, this is tip 3, I think. This one's a bit of a weird one. I see a lot of people kind of like fall into. It's a kind of a trap. It's come from so many different FPS games, and I think it needs to be kind of squashed in Tarkov because it just doesn't help. And this is the AD spam, and I'll show you why in this video next. Okay, so this is the third tip. This is about AD spam. Now, what I mean by AD spam is pushing A and D sort of in a sort of a sequence so that you can dodge bullets or just move around a lot more so that your target can't shoot you as accurately as he might want to. The whole reason behind this is because a lot of people, they tend to come from other games, and that's kind of like a normal thing is to press AD and just kind of strafe left and right. It's sort of the strafe, the strafing mechanic that people do quite a lot. And if I do it here, you see my scope goes left and right like anything. It's crazy. So in Tarkov, it's best not to do the AD spam because of that sort of that sway you get. See that? That's wild. That's a wild sway, and you can't really control it. It's hard to control. You can try and counter it. Go the opposite way of where you want to go. It's hard to control though. It's hard to counter it. You have to think about it a lot. Whereas if you just continue in the direction that you're going, so if for example you have space on your left here, all you have to do is just press A, and see your crosshair. It stays in virtually the same spot. If you're obviously you have to track the player. If you're moving, you track the target, right? So you track it around, and you can easily shoot. Whereas if you're AD spamming, it's way too hard to track anything, right? And also the fact that you're AD spamming, the player that you're facing could be just spraying down range straight at you, and you're just crossing over his line of fire all the time. If he's spraying right towards you, you're just crossing over his line of fire. If he's shooting this way, you're just crossing straight over every single time, right? Whereas if you're strafing, say like you're pressing A, strafing left, you never cross over the same line of fire once. It's always a different line of fire. So he's got to then track you as well, keep going, which I think is a lot harder. If they've got like a full auto gun, it's so much easier for them to just kill you if you're crossing back over and forth over the line of fire, right? Obviously, I mean it's just so much easier to just strafe the same way, keep going. If you're pressing A, you track your target by moving your mouse right. Pressing D, move your mouse left. It's super simple, very easy to do, and it obviously keeps your gun steady, no sway. Yeah, it's quite hard to get around though, because obviously you might be used to pressing AD to sort of dodge bullets and stuff, but I think it's definitely worth it to get used to in Tarkov. Okay, so one extra tip that I want to give that I don't think I thought about before I made these notes here. One extra little tip that I want to sort of give, and this is kind of something that a lot of people have realized now that's quite good. I've seen a lot of people actually put this into practice, and it's quite nice. Say for example, you're getting pushed by a player, you instantly sort of crouch caps lock, right? Or a player's coming up the stairs, they have no idea you're there, you crouch caps lock, you wait for them, right? You come around the corner and you wait. Say for example, you were just at this corner here, right? And you want to crouch caps lock because you don't want to make any noise, right? At the same time, that's a nice idea because you're making less sound. With your footsteps and all that stuff to let him not be able to hear you so that he has no idea that you're there, right? But the issue with this is that you're crouching. Now, that's obviously you make less noise when you're crouching compared to when you're standing up. A lot of the pushing players, they'll have their aim about here, right? They'll have their aim around about this area, right? Like that's kind of the standard thing. It goes again back to the crosshair placement thing, right? I mean, it kind of goes against it in a sense, right? If you want to counter the crouching player, you'll have your aim here instead, right? I guess, sure, but you don't really want to think about that. You don't want to be having to think about a crouching player. You want to be thinking about like an actual moving player that's going to be close range around these corners, right? But if you're a player approaching dorms per se, and you think there's a guy around, or you're not quite sure, you think it's clear, you know, you've got your aim sort of down here, right? You got your aim down here. If a player crouching around this corner is waiting for you, and you come around the corner here, you're gonna instantly one-tap them in the head, right? Because their head is right there instead of up there. So think of it on your end, right? If you're crouching, you're waiting for someone to come around the corner, they're gonna come around the corner, and as soon as they press mouse 1, you're dead, right? Because their gun, their barrel is literally in your face. But yeah, crouching it doesn't quite work close range. So whenever you're getting approached by a player at close range, don't crouch. Stand up. Make sure that you're not slow movement. You know, you're not sort of walking slow. You know, because you want to have the fastest movement possible to sort of get out of the situation, to run away, grenades, whatever. You know, like just make sure you're active, right? And you can move around fast. In this sort of situation, right? If somebody's coming around the corner here and you hear them come up the stairs, obviously, I mean, you won't hear them come up this stairs because the audio is fucked. But you hear them come up, you know, around here and then up these stairs, right? You can peek around the corner and spray them down instead, or you can just wait for them, and then as soon as they come around the corner, you just spray their head, and that's it, right? If you're down here, they're gonna come on the corner. You're gonna spray their chest because obviously you're now at their sort of their pelvis, stomach height, right? So you've got to spray up towards their head even more, which might even hit their chest as well. It might hit their arms, might hit their chest. Whereas if you're the same height as them, head height, you can easily hit their head, right? Whereas now you've got their arms, their chest in the sort of the way of the sort of the head area, kind of. It's less of a target, you know what I mean? So you might hit their chest a few times, which gives them the chance to come on the corner and shoot you, right? Straight in your face. Like you're giving them your head basically if you crouch there. So just you know, when someone's approaching you, just make sure, stand up, make sure you're not walking, and then boom, you're ready, right? Just make sure you're doing that, and that'll win you so many more gunfights, and you know, you won't get head eyes as much by crouching all the time. So that's pretty much it. There's not much else to really give you there. There's 4 tips, I guess 3 plus 1 extra that I didn't really think about putting in until the last sort of minute there. But yeah, it's something that I think you know, a lot of people don't really think about. You know, when they come in, they have their habits from other games they do, like the ADAD, the crosshair placement, looking at the floor slightly, like, you know, 5-10 meters in front of them on the floor, instead of up towards the horizontal plane, and even higher when you're closer range, right, to hit the headshot. Also the grenades as well. The grenades, I'm not sure if that's like a habit that people have just gotten, in terms of like you know, they feel like it's an easy kill if they throw a grenade. Maybe that's the byproduct of having Vogs in the game. People just run Vogs because it's an easy kill, right? I feel like Vogs kind of lazy, but that's just me. All right. But either way, also the crouching thing I just showed you. It's one thing that I've learned, especially in Tarkov. Like any other game, it was fine, but in Tarkov, for some reason, crouching at close range, I mean, it's supposed to reduce your recoil. Obviously, you don't really need to reduce recoil at close range because you're literally face to face. So what's the point, right? But it kind of makes sense because it ties in with the crosshair placement too. With the crosshair placement of the other player, and you crouching means an easy headshot for them, right? It's kind of counterintuitive, but it makes sense though to me, and I hope it makes sense to you. Again, guys, I do stream on Twitch every single day from 10 a.m. BST. That's 11 a.m. CEST European time. So if you guys want to come hang out, twitch.tv/Hayz. Yeah, come say hi. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.